2 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 4. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through the Most High to the pulling down of strongholds, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of Yahawah, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Yahawashi. I want to give all praises and glory to Yahawah, SHAM, Yahawashi, and peace and blessings to you brothers and sisters throughout the four corners of the earth that are waiting on the deliverance from, Yahawashi. This is Yahawah. Just kind of going into a series of tearing down the strongholds concerning, the Immaculate Conception. Okay, so this is going to be a multi-part series to basically really attack this subject and really just, put to rest this whole thing and doctrine about basically our Lord Yahawashi, not coming from man. All right, which basically that's what's been pushed, for ages. We're going to show you, through the Spirit, all right, of the Most High, of Yahawah, that this is something that has been going on for a long time, and hopefully, we'll be able to put this to rest, for a lot of you brothers and sisters that have had questions about this particular subject. Okay, so really, this is basically what it is. A lot of this stuff is just comes from doctrines that have been around for ages and that many people have fallen for. Okay, they've fallen for this doctrine, and now this thing has been put in place now that our people are coming back into the knowledge of who they are as far as being Israelites, but that doctrine is still weighing on the minds, all right, of many, all right, because of the fact that maybe they've either been told wrong or they haven't been properly taught or not been really properly edified, which is built up, all right, upon on the subject concerning it. Okay, so we're going to go into a few different things. First, we're going to go into just the nature of where this started from. Okay, so this is just going to be kind of like a brief introduction. All right, the other stuff is really the bigger parts, of this series. But first, we got to attack, the origin of all this. Okay, because when you go, into the scriptures, the whole thing, it goes into the fall, of man. All right, starting with Adam, all right, who of course we know that Eve was the one who first took of the fruit, all right, of these different philosophies. Now I'm going to kind of go into and link it up with another precept as far as with the last one. This is 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 3. All right, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. Okay, we know in this time it's talking about Esau. Okay, now when we go further on, this is something that has been common, all right, amongst a lot of different people. Now this is 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 4. Who opposeth and exalted himself above all that is called Yahawah, or the Most High, and that is worship, so that he, as the Most High, sit in the temple of Yahawah, showing himself to be the power. Now, when you go back in time, this is something that a lot of other nations have done in the past as well. Okay, they've done different variations of these things. Or it's just that in the latter days, this is the way that the ending is going to come through a man or a nation, all right, of men who embody this characteristics, which today will be the Edomites. Okay, so now we're going to kind of go into where did this come from, or was this something that was newly created in this current age and time? Okay, because it is not. And we're going to kind of go into where this came from, first starting at the garden, and we're going to kind of go historically later on in the other lessons to show where it kind of took off even further from, as far as throughout the times in history. Okay, now when you go into Genesis chapter 3, starting at the top, it says, now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which Yahawah had made, and he said unto the woman, yea, hath God said, ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said unto the serpent, we may eat of the tree of the fruits of the tree of the garden, but of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God said, had said, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And the serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die. For the Most High doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. Okay, now this is the part of the temptation, all right, of the serpent. Okay, this is basically, how Satan operates. Okay, because there's levels to this thing as far as like how Satan works. Satan works through other people. Okay, and you have certain nations, all right, and people, even amongst our nation, that are set up to basically push forth philosophies to, all right, Israel, basically to get them caught up in tripping and slipping. Okay, even as it is unto this day. Now, what did the serpent say, all right, to Eve? That your eyes will be open and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. Okay, now that's tree is really, and the fruits of the tree is really talking about those other philosophies that are outside of the tree of life, outside of what the truth is in its pureness. Okay, the true knowledge that was needed to be known, not worldly knowledge. Now, it's no coincidence that when you look at different diagrams and pictures, all right, as far as when it comes to knowledge, you have different branches of knowledge, all right, that are basically philosophies that people eat off of, and people go to this, and this is primarily set up now by Esau, because when you look at the knowledge-based system globally, okay, and how it is, how schools are, from youth on up to grad school, grad schools, medical schools, law schools, all that stuff, anything that's dealing with knowledge in this current world, it stems from one way or another from the people that rule on this planet. And that's what they're giving the people. They're giving people something that they feel is going to make them have enough knowledge to now combat the true knowledge of the scriptures. And that's the reason why it's no coincidence that people that have taken hold of these different areas of knowledge, all right, of the tree of good and evil, which is the so-called knowledge tree, all right, which I'll put up. You've probably already seen the image already of an example of it. Those same people that eat of it, they begin to oppose themselves to, against, the Most High. So you have a lot of what you would call, as it says in the epistles of John, you have many antichrists, all right, because you have people that follow after the same vibration of the main people that are spearheading the opposition, all right, to the Most High. Okay, so as you know, I mean, this is something that's the reason why when you look at the education system today, everything is based off of learning what the people that run this world learn. All right. And they will actually withhold different information and withhold the most important information from you. That's the reason why they have no problem with churches and things being set up all around the country and all around the world pushing a doctrine of the Immaculate Conception. OK, and this is a doctrine that is an old doctrine that was just basically brought back in, okay, which will kind of go into, it being brought in and some of the times when it was brought back and some of the origins of a lot of these things, because this is a pretty, detailed topic to go into, but it's definitely necessary. All right. So right now we're just kind of dealing with, the origins of all this, which is rebellion and not wanting to basically go and stick with the commandments, all right, of the Lord, all right, because the Most High already had set commandments in the beginning, but we, all right, as people, we've rebelled over time, all right, over time to his word. And that's the reason why we're bringing everything back to the focus of the word. And anybody who's pushing a doctrine of the Immaculate Conception, you have to now go through the scriptures, and not just, you got to go through the scriptures and you got to see what other prophets, all right, said, or apostles as well, whether or not that's the case. Okay, so we're going to go into 2nd Ezra. We're going to start at chapter 4 and verse 26. All right, then answered he me and said, the more thou searchest, the more thou shalt marvel, for the world hasteth fast to pass away, and cannot comprehend the things that are promised to the righteous in the time to come, for this world is full of unrighteousness and infirmities. But as concerning the things whereof thou askest me, I will tell thee, for the evil is sown, but the destruction thereof is not yet come. If therefore that which is sown be not turned upside down, if the place where the evil is sown pass not away, then cannot it come that is sown with good. All right, because in order for the good to come, the evil that has already been sown has to be turned upside down, meaning that it's already going the opposite way. Now it's got to be reversed. All right, and one of those things that has to be reversed is the thinking in the minds. All right, because you got a lot of people, they spent 20 something to 30 something years, all right, being bombarded with this whole Immaculate Conception doctrine. Okay, and now when they get in and they find out that they're Israel, or they believe by faith, okay, that they're Israel, when it comes to this particular issue, they're confused about it because a stronghold has been built in their mind. Okay, because a stronghold guards something. All right, that's the reason why what happens is when people hear that Yahawashi came forth from the seed of man, all right, through Joseph, there's automatically a fortified stronghold from when you were a kid that's basically bucking up against the fact of the scriptures, the truth of the scriptures, precept upon precept. And we're gonna get into all of that. We're not dodging anything with this subject. So when you go into verse 30, it says, for the grain of evil seed hath been sown in the heart of Adam from the beginning, and how much ungodliness hath it brought up unto this time, and how much shall it yet bring forth until the time of the threshing come. Okay, so that seed of wickedness in the mind, of that rebellion, it was already sown back then, going back into the garden. Of course, as you know, we didn't read the whole Genesis chapter 3 about what happened, but we know about the fall, pretty much, of the transgression, and basically, the fall of Adam, all right, through Eve. Okay, now that's part of the reason why we're gonna attack different areas of this subject, because we got to understand the part that each side plays in this whole doctrine being pushed. Ponder now by thyself how great fruit of wickedness the grain of evil seed hath brought forth. Okay, and we're going to go into that, because what we're going to realize is that this whole Immaculate Conception thing and this particular doctrine that's come forth is something that has taken its own course even further from what it did in the beginning, until the time of threshing comes and everything is taken away that is of evil, of wickedness, that opposes itself, right, to the Most High. Okay, so we're going to go into Romans chapter 1 and verse 25. Who changed the truth of Yahawah into a lie, and worshiped and served the creature more than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. Okay, so we know that when we go back into the garden, you see that you had the serpent, right, which basically shows that the lie began with an entity, with an actual being itself, all right, which really it's usually given to a man. Okay, it's usually going to give it to a man or some person on the planet to push the agenda of Satan, because Satan simply just means adversary. All Satan does is just oppose whatever the Most High sets up. All right, so whatever's on the right hand side, there's an opposing force on the left hand side that goes against it, and that's how men on this earth are tried. That's how men and women on this earth are tried, is through the opposing force that wants to tempt them and cause them to go off and not follow the commandments of the Lord. Because you have the commandments of the Lord and you have the commandments of men, all right, which the commandments of men, all right, come from Satan. Okay, so it's really something that we have to think about. And when you go into the temptation that Eve was given, was that she would be like a god, a power, would be like the Elohim. Okay, and that temptation of wanting to be deified, okay, is part of the rebellion that happened, because there was a desire by man to be worshipped, when the only true entity that was to be worshipped was the Most High. Okay, which we'll get into. But we're gonna see, as the lesson goes on, you're gonna see how things unravel and unfold, and how this thing is working, and why this deception has become so heavy, even all the way until today, even for people that call themselves Israelites. Okay. So just gonna go ahead and finish it off. This is John chapter 4 and verse 23. But the hour cometh, and now is, when the true worshipers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth, for the Father seeketh such to worship him. Yahawah is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. So there is no, this person is going to go and say, no, the Savior did not come through a man. He did not come directly from the line of the loins of a man or whatever, and somebody else says, otherwise. And then everybody somehow on the same accord. That's not truth. That's confusion. And what it is about this place is that because of the nature of the place known as the United States of America, which is also known as Babylon, confusion is allowed. The confusion of doctrines is allowed because things that contradict are meant to somehow be in unison in this world, and it's taught people to have a so-called open mind and allow things that contradict, to basically be part of their knowledge base and things that they look towards. Okay, so we're gonna deal with that. We're gonna deal with the whole thing, because there's only one truth. Okay, and there's only one way. All right, and so we're gonna establish that, and we're gonna see, what was written in the scriptures. And we're going to tackle different areas of this particular subject as concerning, this Immaculate Conception doctrine. And, through the power of the Spirit of Yahawah, in the name of his son, Yahawashi, we're going to tear this thing down, all right, stone by stone, until there's nothing left. All right, so look, hopefully you brothers and sisters will be looking forward to this series. And again, I want to give all praises and glory to Yahawah, HaSHAM, Yahawashi. And peace and blessings to you, brothers and sisters, throughout the four corners of the earth. Shalom.